Yeah, well, that's amazing, you know. When you listen to people's stories, when you talk to people, they can have some horrific things that take place, and as people start to unravel their life story when they're connected with God, you start to find sort of strands and themes coming through. And you know, love was obviously a really significant thing for you to learn about because of where you come from, what had happened to you, what you've been engaged with. And God has his sneaky little ways of kind of like shaping life and circumstances in such a way that you end up saying, hello, Sister Jean, I'm here, and then you stay in the house for a year, which is really weird. But that's fantastic. But Steve is a real big one for travelling. You might not know, but Steve's been to about 52 countries. You know, the first aeroplane he went on, he jumped out of, he told me, with a parachute. And he's been and done a whole load of different things. And Steve's a chippy. If you've ever had a handshake from Steve, yeah, you will know that it hurts. And the reason why it hurts is because he holds everything like a hammer, and sometimes treats things like a nail. And Steve loves to travel. He's a chippy, and as God's been sort of breathing something into his heart as he's been travelling around, he's also got missions inside of him. In 2003, you zipped over to Mozambique.
Yes, that's right. I started coming to CGC, I think it was about 10 years ago, maybe more. And it was just after the flood in 2000. As Femi was running a mission over there, and he said, well, they used to do in John Payne's school, they used to have church there, and he said, oh right, anyone who fancies going, come and see me after the service, and we can go. I'd been to Mozambique before. I've been to, my grandma and my granddad used to be a director of an airline. He pioneered it up from Imperial Airways, which was the first passenger airline, and then it became BOC, then British Airways. So Elizabeth Taylor used to send my granddad cases of whiskey for Christmas. But unfortunately, I grew up on the alcoholic side of the family, the Scottish contingent. So I've been to Mozambique before, and I've been to Africa, Asia, all over the world, but I've never been to a place to meet people at their point of need. And when we went there, it was totally, He did something with my heart, because basically people in Africa, although they've got nothing and you have very little to give them, what you have got, even if it's a smile, just a warm welcome, you know, they're open for it. They want it. We went to a rubbish dump where people live. It's a place called Bocaria, and the rubbish comes in and they go through it, you know, to see what they can have and food, and it was really, you know, just I went over there to teach some kids some chippy work, which I did do. I've done a little bit of chippy work over there, but it was, I think God gave me a lesson in humility. And when I was out there, I had a tattoo on my shoulder, and we flew up to Beira, and I said to one of the doctors, I said, oh, I've got a tattoo on my back, can you cut it out for me? And she went, yeah, okay. So I was waiting in the surgery. It was just like a breeze block hut, nothing sort of sterile about the environment.
Doctors, please close your ears now.
Yeah. So I was waiting to get my tattoo done, and there was a guy. I think he had his legs were really bent up, and he was on the table. And I said to him, I said, oh right. I said, the war hadn't long finished. I said, how did it affect you? And he said, me and my brother, we were playing hide and seek indoors. He said, and all the soldiers come in. He said, and they butchered my whole family. He said, my mum, my dad, my brothers and my sisters, and I was hiding under the bed. And I was, how on earth do you deal with that? And this guy said to me, he said, I'll just forgive him. He said, because if I didn't forgive him, he said, my heart would be eaten up with bitterness and hatred, so I'll just forgive him. And that really impacted me when I come back to the UK.
See, that's a big one, isn't it? Forgiveness, I guess, is not something we can avoid engaging with. I've heard so many people talk to me about things that have been done to them, and I think as people, we kind of have every right to hold on to the pain, but the problem is that that person goes about doing what they do, but it kind of like eats away at your heart and you're held captive. And this whole thing of forgiveness comes up time and time again when I've spoken to people who have gone through horrific situations. It seems outrageous to us, I think. For me, it seems to be completely supernatural. It's beyond and above what we would want to do naturally, but those things are so impactful when people release other people when they've been in pain. They're no longer held captive by the experience that has come against them. So you're in Mozambique, God's doing a number on you. He's teaching you forgiveness, He's teaching you love. The two things that really you needed to learn about because of history and stuff like that. You're walking with God and everything should be okay now. But one of the things I've realised with reading your story and talking with you is that nothing's ever obvious. It never seems to, go, well, you do this, and then that's going to happen. Stuff happens. You fall in love. You get connected to somebody. You enter a relationship with them. Everything looks as if it's going to be smooth, and then the wheels fall off life again, and you go from a place of Mozambique, love, forgiveness, Sister Jean, relationship with God, blah, 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 and then in 2003, post 2003, up to a little while ago, things start to go on the slide again for you. And you still find yourself back with God now, but tell us a little bit about that slide that took place as a result of that relationship.